Hey there, Tiger. This episode is sponsored by our friends Dream Herbaly. Dream Herbaly make handcrafted all-natural teas designed to improve your dream experience. I started drinking the tea myself, and I have been remembering my dreams very well, and I've even had lucid dreams as a result. If you want to learn more about the product, go to dreamherbaly.com. Check them out.
It is your call. It is your game. It is your creation.
Oh my God, they're so indubious.
Got to have an optimal theory for playing the game.
Whatever you focus upon becomes your truth.
Hey, everybody. This podcast is a place where we open our hearts. We display true aspects of ourselves and our human experience without judgment so others may benefit from them and connect to the energy that we aim to create more of in the world. Through this energy, may we lay down the burden of fear and doubt. This is the Living Indubiously Podcast. We got Ev and Skip here today. Skip is back from Africa. How does it feel, brother?
It's pretty amazing, bro. It's pretty amazing to be back. I feel amazing.
Good.
I feel happy to be back. It's good to see you, man. It's really good to hang out. It's good to be back on the podcast. It's good to have this energy field that we're creating together to allow for, total integration of the experience that I had.
Total domination of the world?
Total annihilation. Yeah, so I'm stoked, man.
Nice.
It was quite the journey, bro. It was one of the, I won't even say one of, it was by far the most transformative and difficult and amazing experiences of my life.
Tight.
Absolutely wonderful.
It's pretty tight.
Yeah.
It was. It seemed like it was hard because I was talking with you via WhatsApp or whatever, and it seemed like it was a lot of struggle. Is that kind of just the way that it goes?
Well, it's interesting. I'll say that going there, I've been working with Iboga medicine. So for those that don't know, I went to Africa to become an Iboga provider. Iboga is a medicine that has been used since the beginning of time by the Bwiti, which are it's a spiritual tradition that is rooted in Gabon, Africa. And so going there, I've been working with this medicine for a couple of years. And so I didn't know how far along that I actually was. Going there and starting to, go into the classes and understand what it was that I needed to do to accomplish it, I realized that I was really there to fill in a few gaps, to integrate myself into the vibration of the experience of the Bwiti and to be initiated. So going there and actually being there were different things for me. I went with a huge trepidation about what I was getting into. Obviously, it's a big undertaking to go to Africa, like uproot your life, go to Africa for 2 months, and to live in the jungle with this group of people. It was daunting, the daunting thing to go do. Mm-hmm. Once I got there, I realized that my expectation did not meet my reality at all.
In what sense?
Well, so once I got there, my mind's eye had a different view. And then to actually settle in, I got this feeling, and after a few days, like, oh, fuck, what did I do? And it was really what I realized it was there was a component of myself, the old me, that was going to die. It was going to be destroyed. A part of my identity was going to be left behind because I had been dismantling this part of my identity for many, many, many years. And this last fragment was going to actually be laid to rest. And initiation with the Bwiti is quite literally a rebirth into who you are on this planet. It's becoming yourself for the first time. It's like a rites of passage.
Yeah. Before we get there, can you tell me more about what you meant by there's this aspect of yourself you've been kind of shedding your whole life or whatever, or working towards a very long time. What is that aspect of yourself?
Since the time we're born, the Bwiti say that there's two movies that we play. One is the movie up until about the time you're 18 years old. Mm-hmm. That movie's been written, directed, produced, essentially by your parents in the world. You don't have any say over that movie.
Okay.
That's the movie that you get handed. And by about the time you're 18, give or take, you start your second movie. And it's up to you whether you want to make that a sequel to the first movie, or you realize that everything in your life was choice and you get to choose how you produce this movie. Because you're 100% in control.
For you, do you feel like yours was a sequel?
For me, I feel like, so I don't think it's cut and dry for everybody. I think that there's components of your life where we wake up as an adult and we realize that we're creating it, but our own self-responsibility isn't quite, you're not taking full responsibility for everything being on you, your choice. And so there's little pieces that are intertwined in there. And what I meant by identity is that there's parts of myself that I cultivated myself to be up until the point I was an adult that were rooted in some sort of mistruth. They were rooted in false beliefs and things that were never serving me. If I had to be specific, it would be like, like ideas of what it means to be quote unquote cool, or what it means to be a good person. These things get convoluted based on beliefs and things we think we are, and they're inherently rooted in your own self-worth. How you feel about yourself and the amount that you're willing to take responsibility is directly related to how much you can actually actualize what you believe and feel to love yourself. Because self-love is a funny thing. It's not as cut and dry as we think it is. It's become a very trendy thing, right? Self-love. Become this idea that self-care, if we take, I'm going to take a bath tonight, I'm going to eat ice cream, and I'm going to call it self-love. Mm-hmm. And that's a very convoluted version of it. But we have this Western mindset that says self-love is just like, oh, they're there, we're okay. It's not. It's more
of like a living vibration.
It's being honest. It's being honest with yourself and how you feel. Mm. True self-honesty requires self-evaluation. Self-evaluation requires looking at the truth, and looking at the truth is painful.
Yeah.
When you look at the truth of yourself, and everybody, there's a lot of really good people out there that are lying to themselves constantly because it's easier. They think it's easier. Well, it's not. It's not easier. It makes your life far more difficult than you can imagine. Mm. Not only if you distort the perception of yourself, you distort the perception of the world completely. You don't see things as they are, as they present themselves to be, because that lie keeps you from seeing the truth. And the truth is a funny thing because it's right here all the time. We have this concept in the West as well as like individual truth. Oh, I'm going to speak my truth. Well, there's truth and there's not. We have truth and we have lies. And truth is looking at yourself honestly with curiosity, seeing yourself as you are today, and knowing that everything that's happened to you or been done to you required your participation in it. And so once we get really clear with that, we can leave that identity behind. And so this process was going on for me in Africa, where I was realizing there was a lot of things I was telling myself throughout my whole entire life that just weren't true. And so the whole Bwiti process, the whole tradition breaks you down to see truth. And so what do we mean by truth? Well, we mean life itself. We mean seeing life as it is in reality. And how do you do that? How do the Bwiti do that? Well, you use your senses. You've been given 6 doorways of perception to live your life. You're here on planet Earth right now. So whatever you believe happens after you die or what you were before here is sort of irrelevant to the experience, no? It's like,
Right.
It's sort of irrelevant because if you're not fully immersed in your life, if you're not fully embodying this moment right here, you're not really alive. And so to honor life is at the core of Bwiti tradition. To honor life, to be thankful for life, and to be here and be present. And we do that through our senses. To be fully online and aware and activated requires you first to face the truth of yourself, to face all of the things within your own soul that haven't been brought to the surface, and then to use your senses to actually root yourself in reality and be here.
So is there no value then in developing a belief framework of what happens after life?
It's not that it doesn't have value. It's whether or not you can actualize it and it has utility in your life. So a belief is a belief. A belief is something that we tell ourselves. It's not something that we know. And to be Bwiti, you seek to know. And to know means that you remove the things you can't fully be, that you can't fully know. You remove those from your... It's almost as if we have something we believe, let's say we're talking about life after death, and we're talking about fifth dimensional realities, and we're talking about alien civilizations. All these things serve not a whole lot of purpose other than entertainment for the mind. And so that brings me to the next thing, which is essentially the whole process, the whole Bwiti process is realizing what the mind is and what the soul is. Realizing that the mind isn't a place to play around. It's not a place to go and have fun and try to figure things out. See, the mind is the problem because the mind creates a problem.
Yeah.
And then it wants to fix the problem. Well, you don't realize a lot of the times you're trying to dig yourself out a hole in life with your mind, and it was the mind that created the problem in the first place. I mean, everything is nothing until you make it something.
So it's like, oh, this person doesn't like me. I need to figure out how I can get them to like me. When in the first place, that was your mind that created that reality anyways.
Yeah, and if you take that example, it's why is it that I feel that people don't like me is the truth.
Or why do I need someone to like me?
Why do I need somebody to like? Where did that come from? Why do I do that to myself? And why do I keep replaying that tape in every single living moment that I walk forward on this planet?
Yeah.
Why does that theme keep reoccurring? It's about taking the microscope off of the mind and putting it on the truth. And the truth is like, so for instance, when your soul speaks, it speaks very clearly and simply. We know instantly. That's the problem with this whole process in life, is that we know what our truth is all the time. It's always with us. And our mind gets in the way because the mind wants to rationalize why it is you shouldn't feel that way, or why you talking yourself out of feeling that way, or talking yourself out of what the truth is. And the mind is essentially the thing that's in the way. Now, don't get me wrong. The mind is an incredible tool. It's useful. We need it, and it's a miracle. It's absolutely beautiful. It's not that the mind is the enemy, but in some senses it is, because it is constantly playing tapes. It's constantly reminding you of that first movie that we talked about earlier. It's constantly replaying those things. It's constantly bringing you back into the fold of the mind on loops and loops and loops. And we all know that. We all know that during our day, if our mind is quiet, we're happy. It's like that moment of gratitude, right? When you get that moment of gratitude, and I don't mean the mental gratitude, I mean like the emotional feeling of gratitude.
Feeling, yeah.
Two things happen. One is you're completely full of life. You don't need, there's nothing that you need. There's nothing that you could add to the experience for it to be better. It's everything. You're in the moment of everything.
Yeah.
Which means that's what we carry around with us always. And the second thing that happens is it's very, very simple. Your mind's not activated. You're just happy.
Yeah.
So
it's a good place to be.
In that quest for the meaning of life that we all seem to be fascinated with, meaning of life to the Bwiti is to be and enjoy it. That's it. We make it more complicated than it needs to be. You're here. Look at what a miracle it is to be. Now, the funny thing is I'm not saying anything new that we haven't said on this podcast.
Yeah.
And so that came clearly to me.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of where my mind was going. Like everything you're saying seems, it seems like good wisdom, that's for sure. But what is the difference of someone hearing that? Like for me, I'm hearing that and I totally resonate with it. And I feel like I already, understand that kind of, basic stuff. Mm-hmm. But where does like doing Iboga come into play? How does that allow that to sink in a different way?
Well, so the medicine is a highly intelligent being, and it's been here since the beginning of time. It's so intelligent that it's way smarter than you or me. This entity is something so powerful. And so from the first time that the Bwiti came in contact with this medicine, the medicine told them very directly, I'm going to teach you anything that you want to know about life. And so without the medicine, there's no Bwiti. Without the Bwiti, there's no medicine. Mm-hmm. Everything that all of this wisdom came from this entity. This all came from Iboga. Mm-hmm. It taught them what they needed to know, not from a man, not from a book. It didn't come from anything but nature. It came from Mother Earth. It showed exactly what to do, how to live a simple life, and how to do it well. It started to teach them about life. It started to teach them about the universe. It started to teach them about nature. It started to teach them about the rules of nature, and that everything is nature. And so in order to understand this concept of everything being nature, it starts with looking out into, for instance, we think of nature and we think of trees, or we think of grass, or we think of bees, or we think, nature. Mm-hmm. Nature doesn't mean that. It does mean that, but that's not it.
Yeah.
Nature is the way things are. It's the way things...
I mean, if you look at the
nature of things.
Yeah. If you look at the root of what the word actually means, the definition.
And so, for the Bwiti, they were told, from the medicine, that if you look out into nature, everything is there for you to use. Everything is there for you to use. But you can't abuse it. What does that mean? Well, if you need something, you can take it. Use it. You don't take what you don't need. And let's just talk about the jungle, for instance. You take what you need, you respect it, and you don't take what you don't need. Well, the medicine also showed them that you are nature. You are nature. Mm-hmm. And so that's all fine and good to take care of the forest. What are you doing to yourself every day of your life? How do you take care of yourself? Because you are nature. So that means, are you abusing yourself? Do you take more than you need from yourself? Do you cause yourself unnecessary harm? Do you overwork yourself for no good reason? Because what if you did that to the forest? For instance, if you overwork the forest, what does it look like? Well, you chop down more trees than you need. You kill all the animals. Yeah. You're not respecting nature. And so what this does as well is you start to see yourself as part of the whole. Because the one thing that ties us to everything else is the four elements. We have the four elements within everything. We have the blood, we have the bone, we have the flesh, we have the air, the breath. We have all these things, all four elements. And that's the same with everything on this planet. And so to start respecting ourselves like we are nature, that requires us to treat ourselves as if we were our firstborn baby. Mm-hmm. Requires us to look after ourselves as if we were something precious. Requires us to preserve our resources. To not overwork ourselves, and to learn how to be here in this moment and enjoy it, which means there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. There's no rush for anything. And the thing about it is that all paths in your life, anything you can choose, well, you have the free will to choose whatever you want to do in your life, but it leads nowhere. It doesn't go anywhere. It goes to death. We're all going to leave this planet. This life is going to end. You're going to cease to breathe at some point. The point of it is that you choose a path that feels good, and that's based on a succession of moments. And your moment right now is going to make your future. If you were doing this in 10 years, would you be happy? That's the question you ask yourself. Would you be happy? Do you have enough spaciousness within yourself to give yourself the moment to just be here? Well, what that requires also is the activation of your 6 senses. It requires you to put your feet on the earth and be in reality, because there's nothing more present than hearing and seeing and smelling, tasting, touching.
I'm smell blind.
You are actually.
Yeah.
That sucks, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, that was kind of rude of you to say that, but
and so that's what we use. We use that to get ourselves into the moment of the reality, which is here, now. Nowhere to go, nothing to be, nothing to do, nothing to fix. There's no healing to have. You don't have to fix yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. Truth is with you all the time. See, this is the thing. Our Western minds, we're really cerebral. We're way up here. And so we tend to have this idea that truth is somewhere out there. So if we find God, it's got to be up a mountain in a cave with a master somewhere. We're going to go look for it. We're going to try to find it. That's the mind. Truth is this funny thing. It's right here with you all the time, but it's so close to you that you look past it. It's so close to your face. It's so with you right now that you're looking for it. You look for truth. It's not like that. This is true. This is truth. You're living truth right now. And to live truth fully means you embody it. Means you know it. Means you integrate it. Means you bring it back home. Means that you bring it into your body. We also have this Western concept, like we see, we have all these great teachers like Ram Dass and everybody, meditation teachers, Hindu, Buddhist, all this stuff. Like, we feel as if our bodies are a prison almost. We feel like being here and being human, there's more to it, and I'm going to figure it out. Well, I suggest what I got suggested to me by the Bwiti, and once I accepted this,
did someone suggest it to you, or did the medicine suggest it to you?
The medicine suggested to you that this is amazing. That you're missing the point if you're looking elsewhere. If you're trying to figure out what's happening outside on a different planet, it can be fun. I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do. Like, everybody does it. I'm not one to talk because I've been way interested in all this stuff my whole life. But just to remember that this experience, what we have with this physical experience, being a human being on planet Earth, is one of the, if not the coolest things in the entire galaxy to do. To remember that and bring it home, and to truly be human, truly integrate into your life. And what does that mean? Well, it means putting the power back in somebody's hands, putting the power back in their hands for their life. When you through this medicine, you can get an evaluation of yourself. You can see yourself with such clarity that you can take that power back in your life. You can start to remember all the little choices you make. Every single second of every day on planet Earth, we're making choices, and we don't even realize it. We're choosing every second, choosing something every second. And so to take the power back and put it back into your choice. If you're able to be a master of your choice and know that it's all your choice, how you feel is your choice. How you wake up, the mood you choose in the morning is your choice. How you let people treat you is your choice. How you respond to the way people treat you is your choice. What you eat is your choice. What you care about you eating is your choice. The emphasis you put on little things in your life, all your choice. And so when we realize that, we take that power back, then we're free. We're free. We free ourselves from the burden of accidental things happening in the universe. We free ourselves from the burden of blame. You can't blame anybody if it's your choice. There's no more blame.
Well, you're a victim in that way, and then you're essentially powerless.
And there is no such thing. And so we like to play these little games with ourselves where we become the victim, because it feels easier than taking the responsibility for the things we know we should or shouldn't be doing. We know. Because again, like I said, truth is always with you. It's always right here. It's always in the heart. You always have it with you. It's so close that we overlook it. And so you can notice it in your body too. I mean, you know, like you're doing something, you make a choice, and you get this feeling of anxiety or being uncomfortable, and it's a physical feeling, right? Like you choose something and you're like, this doesn't feel good to choose. And then the beauty of this medicine too is once this medicine is in your body, it stays with you for 6 months, and it starts to train you. You start to feel those things, those subtleties, and you start to notice, and then you start to look. You start to go, what is that? And you go, oh, it's that. Oh, I'm not going to do that to myself anymore. And so it gives you that ability to choose. It gives you a split-second ability to choose.
Kind of like snap outside of your regular patterns a little bit.
Well, it certainly does that. So it's, taking this medicine for a psychospiritual, you're gonna come for a week, and you're going to have your first ceremony. There's 2 ceremonies in the week. The first ceremony is really a mind and body detox. This medicine is absolutely fabulous at detoxing the body and the mind. And the first night, a lot of times, is a mind detox. And what that means is you're going to see your thoughts. You're going to see what you constantly do, and then you're going to see the rest of it. You're going to see what the soul, how at peace you really are without the mind, and what you've created your mind to be. Your mind's nothing more than a computer, and you fed it things and programmed it exactly how you wanted it. The problem is most people didn't choose to do it because they didn't know they were doing it. What this mind detox will do is it'll break up a lot of those connections, create some spaciousness in there, and allow you to choose different patterns and habits. It gives you a lot of space to be able to do that, and it gives you enough time within a decision making of the day to be able to activate it and go, you know what? I know where that goes. I know what rooms it goes to in my mind. I know the back corner I'm going to end up at if I keep thinking these thoughts. Yeah. And you get the choice. And the more that you make that choice, as we all know, you start to create neural networks that reflect that. And so it affords you the ability to completely reprogram your mind. Not only that, so the second night, the ceremony night, it's really the spiritual discovery part of the experience. And some people, not all, have really vivid HD visions of things, of their life. They have...
Not all people have that?
Not all people have that. However, the medicine knows what to give whom. So it will choose what you see and don't see, but it always works. And so through that spiritual discovery, you're going to realize a lot of things that have happened to you. Now, we can go in and we can clear traumas that you can't even believe. This medicine is highly intelligent and can do things that, I mean, I've studied lots of modalities. I've looked at many different traditions. This, to me, is so amazing. It's so magic what it can do. And through that process, through a week retreat, you can completely rebirth yourself. You can completely rebirth yourself into the person that you always were. You're not going to be a different person. You're going to still be the awesome person that you were, but that you can leave behind whatever it was that you didn't want to take with you, that you didn't realize you were doing to yourself.
Can we return back to your Africa experience a little bit? Because you and I have had a bunch of talks about what it was like, but I'm sure people won't want to know. Let's talk about what it was like just on a physical day-to-day basis. You know, was it easy? Was it fun? Was it difficult?
Well, the experience of going to Africa was very physically challenging for me personally. First of all, I got there and immediately realized that the no-see-ums and mosquitoes were not going to go away, even when it was daytime. So we're talking about 100 degrees, 100% humidity, and having to wear long sleeves, a hood, wool socks, full pants all day. And so that part immediately was very uncomfortable. The food is great there. They feed you well. Well, me personally, as a human being, I eat a ton Okay, so in order to keep my weight up, I was born with cystic fibrosis. So in order to keep my weight up, I eat a ton. Well, I brought some protein bars because I kind of figured that would be the case. Swiftly ran through them. So I started to lose weight. I lost a lot of weight there. It started to be that's a very uncomfortable feeling for me.
Yeah.
I started to have a lot of insecurities arise based on my childhood, being too skinny. All these things started to come up, which was perfect because the medicine was there to help me work it out.
Yeah.
But the physical stressors were difficult. You know, we would have days where we would lose power, and that means you lose your fan. And that was challenging. You know, the disconnectedness of not being able to talk to my loved ones like I would. You know, I had spotty service with my phone. All those things caused me to have a lot of. I had to summon some strength within me. Now, it wasn't everybody's experience. You know, it's hot and there's bugs and all these things. But this is a personal experience I was working out of my identity.
There were other people there that weren't having that experience, is what you're saying?
I'm saying that the accommodations were good enough to where some people were not having the same experience as me.
Yeah. There's no running water there, right?
There was no running water in. It was bucket showers.
Yeah.
Those things. I got used to being dirty. All those things.
But there are places there, like there you described to me a hotel where they had AC and it was running water and
well, so you're talking about
nice.
So when you fly into Libreville, and Libreville is a metropolitan city, and so there's hotels, running water, all that stuff.
Libreville,
yeah, and so
I like Libras.
Mogenda Village, which is where I was, is 4 hours into the jungle, and so you're out in a remote spot.
I guess where I was going is, do you feel like they make it that way intentionally in order to kind of break you down?
I think that the process of learning, I don't know. I don't know how it works.
Because when I was talking to you, it seemed like you maybe did feel that way a little bit.
Well, I think that there's parts of our Western comfort that are just what they are. I mean, honestly, this is just Gabonese life.
Gabonese?
Yeah, this is Gabonese life.
Okay.
This is
Gabon,
this is how people live in Gabon.
Yeah.
And our frilly Western posh lifestyles conflict with that. And part of learning how to be Bwiti is to learn to not need these things. And so I think it's, you know, they don't make it comfortable for Western people on purpose.
Yeah.
But it's almost medicine in itself to do it that way, because you learn what it is that you're actually attached to and why.
Yeah.
Like you have to ditch a lot of your life, and so I think more than anything, it was a disorienting experience in so many ways. Well, the first half of the time, every 3 days, I'm going into ceremony and taking a ton of medicine and journeying on the medicine, and this disorienting pattern is you're also getting uprooted from your life in so many ways. I mean, you're ripped apart from all of the things that you know to be comfortable in your life, including your friends, your family, your girlfriend, the way that you typically eat, the level of comfort that you normally have, completely dismantled.
Yeah.
Well, the process ended up breaking me down a little bit.
You feel like you're going crazy a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. And within that breaking down, it's almost like I had to hit a really low spot in order to break through and see in true self-honesty what was happening.
Can we talk about that moment?
Yeah, so really honestly, all these ceremonies leading up, within a few weeks, I hit Bwiti initiation. And that's a specific ceremony. That's the ceremony where you get initiated to become Bwiti. And this is not an easy ceremony for a lot of people, based on a few factors. One is, the ceremonies before, you're eating enough medicine to journey. And so that's a lot of medicine. I particularly have a high tolerance, so I have to eat a lot of medicine anyway. And you'd get to the point where you journey, you'd be up all night, you'd have a whole rest day the next day. And I did that over and over and over again, probably 10 times before initiation. Well, initiation is its own beast, man. It's a different ceremony. I can't really go into specifics of what happens in the ceremony, but I will say that the amount of medicine that you eat in that ceremony is like eating 4 times what you would in a normal ceremony. So after this specific ceremony, Mugenda, who is the shaman, he's the 10th generation Bwiti shaman that I'm studying under. He's there facilitating this initiation. And there's lots of things happening that you don't see. Lots of speaking to ancestors, bringing in specific spirits, and tying you to the tribe. And so I ended up getting so high on the medicine that I was high for 3-4 days. Well, after this point, when I started to come out of that, I felt like a different human being. It felt like a rebirth. I felt like I was washed completely clean. Felt different than every other ceremony.
African car wash.
Completely. 100% African car wash. Just completely stripped out. I felt rooted and strong. Nothing was bothering me. I had all of this stuff stripped away from me.
And could you assign that to a particular realization you had, or was it just an energetic?
It's something beyond what I am cognitive of, because I could say, yeah, I worked out these things. Yeah, I worked out these things because that was happening all those ceremonies. I was having little things arise, and I was able to see them and let them go.
Yeah.
For this ceremony, there was not really anything that came up that I'm aware of, but the feeling I got after I came back and got some good sleep was like I could do anything. I felt invincible. I felt like a brand new human being. I felt like the way I was when I was born.
Yeah.
I felt washed completely clean of any anxiety, of any fear, and I felt rooted in strength.
Do you have something that you could recall as, what you walked away from this experience being like the most key understanding of something that, you felt was the most transformational aspect of it?
Yes. It's intrinsically personal, but I'm happy to share it.
Okay. Yeah.
And so towards the end, and when I say towards the end, I mean the day before I left, I was laying on my bed, and it was the night before I was supposed to leave. Well, to let you know how it works, you don't know if you've graduated and you can become a provider until the medicine tells Mugenda, and then Mugenda tells you. Well, this is the day before I was leaving Africa. So I'm faced with the idea of potentially he's going to tell me I didn't pass and that I have to come back at some point. And so I'm laying there on the bed. Now, earlier that evening, I was the head provider for a ceremony all night. So I stayed up all night. I journeyed 3 people. And once they were all tucked in their beds and everything, I laid down for a couple hours. This is probably 6 a.m. Mm-hmm. This is the day before the day I'm supposed to leave. Well, that morning, I had some stuff come up. And that was basically that how unseen I was as a child. It was this moment of realizing that all of these issues that were stemming in every relationship that I had up until this point, every intimate relationship with a woman, was being manifested over and over again from this one core piece, which was being emotionally unseen as a child. And our parents all do the best they can. It's not their fault. But I, for whatever reason, did not feel emotionally seen or held when I was a certain age.
Yeah, I mean, we both had the same parents, so I can identify.
Yeah, and so as I started to kind of like, it was painful. So I saw it. It was painful. I was laying there. I didn't have any sleep, so I'm kind of broken down. And I started to have some visions. I'm still on the medicine. Didn't take that much, but I started to close my eyes and started to kind of journey a little bit and started to see some things. Mm-hmm. Started to see this little African mask. It was this little African mask that as a kid I put on my face.
Like a real memory?
No.
Okay.
This is like me seeing myself as a little young kid putting a mask on.
Yeah.
And then it showed me kind of like going through my life and leaving this mask on. And as I started to go into different relationships, I still had this mask on. I got to my marriage, and I'm divorced now. I've been divorced for many years, but I started to put it showed that I put on a different mask for that marriage. But it was like I changed it. It was just another mask. And it kind of looked like my ex-wife pleading with me to take a mask off. And I wasn't able to do it.
Mm.
And
damn, bro, I got goosebumps right now.
And then, so I'm currently partnered, and it's the most amazing relationship of my life. And I'm working this out at night. I'm going through this process, and I saw that it wanted me to see that being unseen was,
not showing yourself.
Me being unseen was me participating in a lie of that I kept perpetuating with myself, and that I needed to take the mask off. And so then it showed me approaching my next partner, my current partner, and me getting a choice. Are you going to leave the mask on? Or are you going to take it off? And I took it off. And that moment was crazy, because I took it off, and it felt like a release, and I was like, great, and I had some tears. And then later that evening, I got some sleep that day, went about my day, and later that evening, this is the night before I leave, I'm listening to Bwiti music in my head, and I keep hearing Mboka, 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 because it's in the music a lot. And I don't know what this means. I'm like, I don't know if I'm graduating tomorrow. I don't know what's happening at this point. All I know is that Mugenda tells you, if you're not completely healed, you can't be a provider. If you don't completely heal here, you have to come back until you're completely healed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. I'm glad you brought that up.
So I'm going in my head. Obviously, I'm thinking about, like, maybe I'm not completely healed, and I'm not going to graduate, and all the things, right? Mm-hmm. I'm hearing Mboka, 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 and so then I went to bed, go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and I'm supposed to graduate. I hope I graduate, but I wake up, I just completely forgot about what happened the night before.
The dream or whatever.
Yeah, the Mboka just was not, I'm going about my day. Wake up, walk outside. Again, it says 4 a.m, medicine told me you passed. So I graduated.
So at 4 a.m, was that around the time you were having that experience?
That was the time that I was having the Mboka experience.
Okay.
So we're talking about early in the morning is when I had the mask experience.
Yeah.
And then, so I graduated, super stoked, awesome. Well, that particular day, Mugenda had to go kind of urgently because he had some family issues to attend to. So he kind of rushed us to get all of our stuff ready. And so we did. I packed all my stuff frantically, and I was really excited to go because I get to go to a hotel for 3 days. I'm like stoked and pack my stuff. And it's me and my buddy Vikram, who also graduated. And we get in the car and we start driving through Gabon. And we're driving, and somewhere like an hour in, I see the sign that says Mboka. Okay, so
Why is there a sign that says Mboka, by the way?
Just a sign said Mboka. I don't know. It's Gabon.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
So I say, "Hey, Mugenda, what's Mboka?" He's like, "Mboka? Where'd you hear that?" Like, I keep hearing it in the music, and I heard it in my head a bunch last night. This is all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
And I just saw it on a sign. He says, "Really? Are you serious?" He's like, "Well, it's a family name. It's a spiritual name. It means guardian of the village." He's like, "Tell me again how you heard about it?" I said, "Well, it was in my head a bunch last night. I keep hearing it in the music, and I just saw a sign." He's like, "Well, that's your spiritual name." Now, so the process of getting a spiritual name typically is given by the medicine. So this isn't something that the Bwiti give you. A spiritual name is a process which, in initiation, they'll come over to you with a cat skin and come bring you a cat skin that's almost flat black, and they put it in front of your face, and they say, "Do you see anything? Can you see anything?" And they did this in initiation, and I didn't see anything. And so Typically,
cat skin?
Yeah, so it's a
Piece of cat
This is a
skin.
cat called a musingi, which is used in ceremonies, and it's the actual pelt of the cat. And
Got hair on it.
Yeah, and he brings it up and holds it close to your face. It's dimly lit in the temple, so this is black.
Yeah.
And your name will show up for you for a lot of people, and that's where you get your name. Your medicine gives you the name. Well, I don't particularly journey that well. I'm not as visual as some people, and so it makes sense that this is the way that it came.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, is the medicine will get it to you.
I'm very audio based. I've realized, like, it's far less likely for me to see an aura as it is for me to hear some like weird high pitched thing in my ear. Like my ears is how, like, you know, it's how I make music. It's like I'm all about that.
And so Iboga medicine, it's funny you say that, because Iboga medicine is the only known medicine that we have, a psychedelic, so to speak, that creates hallucinations with any sense. And so you can have audio, smell, you can have eyes, all that stuff with this medicine. And so it knows how to talk to everybody individually, knows how to speak to them. Well, anyway, so I got my spiritual name on that drive back. I graduated. And what I realized about the story, to tie it all up, is that had I not done that work, had I not had that moment, that big moment for me, I wouldn't have graduated.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was feeling too. Tell the story about when you after that you stopped and got the chicken, right?
Oh man, we stopped in this little village, and Mugenda.
That was after that.
This is after the Mboka. I got the name. We stop in this little village, and Mugenda looks over. He's like, "You guys hungry?" We said, "Yep, we're really hungry." He's like, "You want some barbecue chicken?" Yep. And so Mutombi, who is a helper, he's Bwiti, he goes over to get the chicken and buys us, everybody in the car, our own meal. It comes in this like plastic bag with newspaper, and it's like this delicious barbecue chicken and yams, fried yams.
Yeah,
and it
great.
was the best meal I'd ever had. And so after this moment, so I eat this meal, and I instantly feel my nervous system just relax for the first time in 2 months. It was almost like that moment with the barbecue chicken was my graduation. Like I felt so at peace, so comfortable, was amazing.
Yeah.
And so I ate that chicken. I was so happy, so grateful. And yeah, I got my spiritual name. So it's Mboka, which means guardian of the village. Which is awesome, because a lot of people, so most the time people do not get their name on the first trip to Africa. It's not common. And so I feel very privileged, very blessed to have received the name Mboka.
Awesome story, man.
Yeah, it was that whole experience, man. It was it feels as if like you have these dividers in your life, you have these moments that nothing will be the same from that point on. Nothing can be the same from that point on. And I feel like a completely different human being.
Milestone.
Yeah. I finally feel like myself, more so than I've ever felt. I feel comfortable with what I like, what I don't like. I feel comfortable with the things that I want to do and what I don't want to do. And I'm not going to waste my life. And that's the point, is to get to the place in everybody's life where they value every moment, that they build a life they don't have to escape from, that they're able to be with themselves and love themselves truly so much that every moment is happy, even when it's not. What I was getting to earlier is that I found I've been working with a Bwiti shaman for years now, prior to going to Africa. What I found after going to Africa as well is that the similarities between living indubiously and the Bwiti wisdom are so spot on.
Living indubiously?
It's so crazy to me that it feels almost scripted. It feels like you were supposed to do this. That's why nothing, all this real wisdom, this witty wisdom, it's like, you're like, yeah, that's all stuff we talk about.
Yeah.
It's more about simplifying. It's more about taking it down to the core, as opposed to it being lofty and letting it go in all these directions. Really, what is the truth? What is the real truth? Your life is a blessing. Your life is a gift. Take care of yourself like your nature. Take care of yourself like you're your own child. And be and enjoy it. We want it more. We want it to be more complicated than that. Everybody wants a long ass book about it, but it's not. So we stop complicating our lives. We stop complicating our minds, and we start just really being here.
Yeah, I feel like our minds we want like all these processes and books to read and daily practices, and we feel like we're not doing something right, so we want to punish ourselves and talk about how we like just need to find the motivation to, all this kind of stuff.
Well, we've become human doings, and we're human beings. We're not meant to constantly be in the quest for something more and greater all of the time. We're supposed to be here and enjoy it. And so to be here and enjoy it means that we take the pressure off. That we love our life, that we love just being. I mean, you look at the Bwiti, they've been in the jungle forever, and they sit around a fire. You don't have to do a whole lot in a day.
Yeah.
You get time to just be, be with yourself. Well, we go, well, that's really nice to say, but I don't live in the African Congo, and I have work and school. Yeah, we all have things that we have to do, but we have to switch the way that we think about those things, the way that we feel about those things, and to make them choice again.
Yeah, like an opportunity as opposed to like a responsibility or like something that we're
choosing to have the life we have. We're choosing it every moment. We're choosing to wake up and do what we do, whether or not we believe it or not. I have no choice, because if I didn't do this, well. That's all you're saying is that you're scared of the outcome. You're scared of actually not doing the thing, because now you're doing something because you're scared of what happens if you don't do it.
Yeah.
That's not living. To choose what you do in a day, to wake up and go to your job because you love it, because you actually enjoy your work. If you don't, that's an honesty you have. That's honesty you have to have with yourself. You have to be really honest about whether or not what you're doing is what you want to be doing. Well, then that opens a whole can of worms for people, right? Because if they go, I hate my job. Now what? Oh,
yeah,
no.
Yeah, well, the whole life that you have built around is built around that income, and you know what I mean?
Which you can continue to do your job and build the life you want. You can do this incrementally. You can choose new ways of thinking about how you're doing what you're doing in order for it to excite you. For instance, if you're working a job and you don't love it, you can go, well, what do I want to do? I want to start this, taco truck. I really want a taco truck.
That sounds fun.
I love cooking tacos.
I love tacos.
I love feeding people.
I like eating tacos.
I like Taco Tuesday.
I like Taco Wednesday.
Like Thursday. Taco Sunday. I love them all. So
I like hot sauces a lot.
You can do that. You can do the job you're doing and start building the life you want. Because when you go to that job that you don't particularly like and you're building something that you love, that job's going to feel more fun. That moment, you're going to realize that you're building something that you love, and you're going to remember to love the moment that you have, because guess what? These moments go like that. And then you're going to look back and you're going to go, what was I doing? Why did I not enjoy my life? You don't want to be 90 years old laying there about to die and go, I didn't make that taco truck. And I really wanted a taco truck. Activate your choice. Take the power back. Put the power back in your hands. Get out of your mind, start getting into your heart, and build the life you want. It's yours. This is the greatest gift you've ever been given, and it's been given to you for free. It doesn't cost anything. It's such a gift. Everything in life is life, and so you honor life. You don't waste any of your life. Don't waste your time. If you if you don't love your life, you have a responsibility to your soul to figure out how to do it. You have to love your life. You have to love this life. Otherwise, what's it for?
And I don't think it necessarily means that if you don't love your life that you need to change it. It can often be as simple as reestablishing perspective.
Well, 100%, because reestablishing perspective is great as long as it's not a lie.
Yeah.
As long as it's truthful. Because you can't make yourself love something. So being really honest about what it is that doesn't feel good and where it comes from. Because a lot of these things, for instance, you could be at a job that you don't really like and realize that actually what you don't like is yourself and the anxiety that you have about your life. That the job's actually pretty cool and that you make it worse than it is. That could be true. But it could also be true that the job is miserable and you try to make it better every day.
Yeah.
And rationalize why it's okay to be there. And so you have to be, it's very personal for everybody, because changing perspective works as long as you're being truthful, as long as you're being real, as long as you're looking at it as it is and you're not trying to sugarcoat it so it feels better, because those things don't last. They don't last. And so, the whole experience. Well, so now I'm an Iboga provider. I get to provide this medicine for people that need it. It's absolutely the most amazing thing that I've ever seen.
Have you had a lot of interest of people contacting you?
Yeah, we have February, and March is almost completely booked. We have one spot left in March, and we have a couple spots left in April. Anybody that feels a calling and wants to know more, they can email
What do you
me.
think the best practical application of this is? I mean, it seems like what draws most people is a substance addiction. Or do you think it's just general, anyone who's spiritually seeking?
I think that the way to think about that is the reason that this medicine is so good at detoxing people is because that's nothing to this medicine. This medicine is so powerful that everybody that approaches it will get something from it. If you want to know more about yourself, if you truly want to know yourself, this is the medicine, because it will not only show you, it'll show you how, it'll show you what to do, and then it puts all the choice in your hands. Well, you can not do it if you don't want to. You can decide, thanks for showing me all the things I needed to know. I'm going to make the choice. It's not going to twist your arm. It's not going to make you choose it. It activates people to be their strongest self. It puts like I said, puts the power in their hands. They remember that their choices are powerful.
How is it different than like ayahuasca?
They're not comparable. They're both very big medicines, but they're couldn't be more different. People like to group them because they're like big medicines. They like to group them.
You can group all medicines and you can compare them because they're all medicines.
Well, I'm saying it's a common theme that people ask this question a lot.
Like, whoa, should I do this or ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca, because so the primary active alkaloid, the thing that's actually getting you high in ayahuasca is primarily the DMT. And with DMT, this medicine tends to come with an ego death. And so ayahuasca is more of an outward experience. It's almost like you're journeying into places out into different areas of the galaxy. And it does bring you back and shows you a little bit about yourself. And this is a good medicine, so I'm not knocking it. But the framework of ayahuasca, for a lot of people, I hear that it leaves a little to be desired. People tend to continue to go back to ayahuasca to heal, as if it's something.
I've known a lot of people that are like, I've done 30 ayahuasca ceremonies.
Yeah, and that's common. And so the reason being is that there's not really a framework with ayahuasca to integrate it. There's not really a established teachings that are given to you to be able to integrate it into your life. Uh-huh. With Iboga medicine, it's inherently tied to the Bwiti wisdom and what has been taught to the Bwiti and the tradition. And the whole process is different because when you're on the medicine, somebody like myself will help you get the answers to the questions that you have about yourself. So you leave getting the answers that you wanted to get. You leave getting specific answers. And the other thing is that Iboga, with one treatment, you can be done for good. So you can be healed, you can move forward and never need it again. Doesn't mean you can't use it again. It doesn't mean you can't come back to another retreat if you need a tune-up. But a lot of people find that it's one and done. They come in, they get their healing, and their life changes. And they see what they've been doing, and they can move on. The experience with Iboga is much different than going outward. There's no ego death associated with Iboga. It's not actually a very scary process for a lot of people when they're on the medicine. Like I feel like ayahuasca tends to have
You hear stories of people taking ayahuasca and like completely losing their shit and needing to be like restrained.
It can be sort of a terrifying experience for some people.
Yeah.
With Iboga medicine, you're always 100% with yourself. You don't leave. You're in your body. You are alive. You're here. Mm-hmm. And the process is you journey a lot. You can journey a whole lot, but you're always with yourself. And so it's, I feel it's a much more comfortable process. Not to mention, there is a component of the physical healing with Iboga medicine that typically when people get done with a retreat, they feel better in their body than they have in years.
The detox factor.
The cleansing factor, the lightness factor. It purges out old emotions. It strips out all that stuff out of your system. And so that tends to feel a lot better for people. But the two medicines are hard to compare. You know, some people ayahuasca is their medicine, some people Iboga is their medicine. They both have their own benefits.
You want to do some of these questions?
Is it question time?
I think it might be question time here.
All right.
Question time, time,
IG.
time. It's question time, time. Oh, it's question time. Questions.
Hacking My Feelings wants to know, what's our favorite way to unwind after an epic show?
Sleep.
Quaaludes. Next question.
Sleepy time, night.
Johnny Alves says, Skip answer your phone.
Sorry, brother. Been a little busy. I'll call you back.
He'll get you. When will the dreadlocks be coming back?
They're not.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Hair's getting gray and thin, you know? Just kind of doing what I do over here. I feel like dreadlocks are like, you know, it's kind of this, the initial reason for them was kind of like going away from vanity. You know, it's like, because like, you know.
It's part of the Nazarite vow for sure.
So then I feel like it's also in this kind of new age spiritual thing. It's a different form of vanity. So I feel weird doing it. I feel weird doing something.
You're right. With in the West, it has turned into. I mean, Vaughn said it best. Like bald head with dreadlock come replace Rasta.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what happened. It reversed vanity for people.
Yeah,
but we're going on a tangent on his question. I'm not going to get dreadlocks again. Personally, it's not me. And I love myself the way that I am. But yeah, no, dreads are awesome. Yeah, no.
Yeah, but no.
I have two spirit animals, Mama Har, a crow and a lion.
How'd you get a lion?
It's just in my heart.
A new thing?
Lion Tidman, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been there.
I'm a lizard. I got a real fast tongue.
What do we got?
Strat Mama says, manifesting health, wellness, and easy, affordable ways to raise vibration. That was an interesting question to me because do you have to spend money to raise vibration? I think raising your vibration is inherently free.
It's inherently free. The best thing I can recommend for manifesting health, wellness, easy, affordable ways to raise vibration. Raising vibration comes with many things that I talked about in this podcast. To raise your vibration literally means to love yourself and your life.
Yeah.
And so to create spaciousness so that you're able to actually feel where you're at spiritually, mentally, emotionally, to be able to have the, to figure out ways in which to give yourself the space to do that. And to really rest and relax into who you are as a human being. I mean, our lives get busy, so it's hard to do, but to love ourselves means that we find ways to give ourselves that time.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. For me, that's something that I've been kind of thinking about. I've been talking about on the podcast a whole lot. Is that for me, raising vibration is as simple as like it's acceptance.
Acceptance. Yeah.
It's like you're just accepting where you are. You're seeing the reality of your life, and you're no longer like putting these imaginary energetic blocks.
Yeah.
Like we just naturally raise by sinking into where we are and not feeling like we need to be more. So it's funny. You want to raise your vibration. The way you raise your vibration is not by not worrying about raising your vibration and knowing that it will naturally.
It does often seem paradoxical because we want to fix and do. Abraham Hicks says it well. It's like if you take a cork and you hold it underwater, that's what we're doing in every situation.
Yeah.
And you let it go, what does it do? Raises to the top.
And how do you let it go? You stop thinking about, stop poking it, stop holding it in a certain light in your mind. Just
and a lot of times we're doing that inadvertently. We don't realize we're holding tension in our bodies and around a situation that we're kind of fighting the outcome because we're scared of a potential outcome, or we think we need to control it to be something. And so when we kind of let go, like he said, we just naturally rise. We naturally rise. It's that feeling of release when you go like, oh, let go. You can feel in your body.
Loving yourself right where you're at.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to do, and we should all try to do it.
There's nowhere to go,
right now.
Nothing to be fixed, nothing to heal. That feeling, that energy is the way.
It is the way. Ross Turo asked a great question. If everything is perfect, what's perfect about murderers and rapists?
The perfect part about murderers and rapists.
I love your instant response. It's perfect.
The perfect part about murderers or rapists is that they had choice. They had choice. They had choice in their life. It's a matter of understanding that, like we were just saying about releasing and things being in the flow, when we hold ourselves out of the light, out of that flow, in resistance for too long, we start to corrupt our own minds. Our minds start to take control. Because of that choice, you get the choice to live a good life and love and be in that perfect vibration, or you get the choice to not. It's like you get to impose your own chains. You get to impose your own limitations on yourself if you want. It just doesn't feel good. Then when we talk about like a bigger picture, what's good about murderers or rapists? Well, this world is polarity. And unfortunately, we all want everything bad to go away. We all want it to be be good.
That's an expression of non-integrated shadow, though, right?
Absolutely. So because we have light and dark, because we are angels and monsters all at the same time, what that means is that everybody has a responsibility to know their capability of being an angel, their capability of being a monster, and then to choose what is wanted. Do you want to choose the negative? Because if you choose the negative continues to come. When you know nature and you know the nature of things, you know that if you choose to be a murderer or a rapist, what's going to happen. If you don't know that, you're going to find out. You can't escape nature. And so in a bigger balance perspective, the light and the dark will always exist. You're going to always have murderers. You're going to always have rapists. You're going to always have wonderful, good doers out there that are angels. You're always going to have that.
And the movie's really boring if you don't have the bad guy. Have you seen that movie?
Nobody watches it.
Nobody watches that movie. And so we come here to experience struggle and challenge and hardship in order to overcome and grow and learn that it actually wasn't hardship in the first place. It was an opportunity, a teaching lesson. And so there's literally utility in the presence of murderers and rapists and all things unholy, in the sense that we get to experience these themes and hone our belief and apply our knowledge in life. I mean, obviously, these are extreme. You're taking the most extreme examples to illustrate the question, but it's a great question. And if you take it more simple, you can go like, well, you know, why are there diseases? You know, how are diseases good? Well, in my life, my disease has been my teacher, and it's taught me so much. I mean, we talk about this often, people know. So you can take that same thing and expand that out to as extreme as you're comfortable with.
It's tricky because we're not saying that, oh, it's perfectly okay to be a murderer or a rapist. Obviously, we want these things to go. But if you ask me this question, if everything is perfect, what's perfect about murderers or rapists? Well, I would suggest that you question what it is that's uncomfortable in you about murderers and rapists. What is that's uncomfortable about you? Because that's the spot in which you learn about what it is that's actually happening within self. Because we all know this person in, like on social media, for instance, that is obviously triggered about a hot topic. And obviously that topic isn't good. Nobody's saying that it's good, but this person is obviously having a visceral response to what's going on. Well, what that affords us, it affords us a moment to not blame the world for being fucked up, for not blaming the fact that there's murderers or rapists as being the wrong thing. It affords us a moment to realize what it is within ourselves that feels so uncomfortable about this particular issue. If that gives you more knowledge of self then it's done its job. And that's not to say also that we don't strive to live in a world that doesn't have murderers or rapists, because obviously that's the case. Everybody wants that. But the truth about this planet, the truth about this realm, is that nature is on two poles. There's up, there's down, hot, cold, north and south. It's always going to be extremes on either side. The question is where do you want to live? What are you going to do with your own time? What are you going to do? How are you going to feel about your own life? And what good are you going to do in the world? Because the only thing you can do, not be a murderer or rapist. It's the only thing you're going to do.
Yeah.
What do we got next?
Joe Vandenberg. What's up, Joe?
Vandy B?
He wants some teasers regarding our plans this year, tour plans, new material, other projects.
Well, we have
shows.
We have some stuff happening. That's about all the teaser you're going to get for the shows, really.
Yeah, we're going to be playing shows, man.
We have a really cool potential new music scenario that's going to be happening soon, which is also as much as we're going to probably say at this moment.
What does that mean?
We have a release that is...
we can talk about that. The remix album. Yeah, we released one single off that. We're going to be releasing a single the end of this month, and then... in March, and we have I think 3 more singles to release, and you'll have a whole remix album of The Bridge. Of course, we're working on new music. We're planning a tour out to Reconnection Festival out by St. Louis, and that's in May. That's in May. And then we're gonna be hitting Minneapolis and Chicago and all sorts of stuff. We're just doing stuff.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to keep. We'll have to keep you posted.
When are we coming to Bend? Well, we live here, and we have a show coming up in Bend.
So I'm here now in Bend. Also, the show is on the 26th at the Volcanic Theater Pub.
Volcanic.
So come see us.
Yeah. Every question here is really about Africa.
Yep. Skip Wicked back in town. Yes, brother.
But we pretty much all covered the Africa thing.
Let's see if we can find a couple more.
Let's try to get some more in here because we're vibing, man. Any artists on the scene that you haven't collabed with yet but would like to, Skip?
I'd really like to work with Sumti at some point. I really like her style. She's awesome MC.
Yeah.
Sumti would be great. She's on my short list. Let's see, who else? Mongo's Hi-Fi, obviously, which is more of a production team, but still love to collaborate with Mongo's.
Joshua Scarpa's asking for an update on Mystic Vibrosis.
The
documentary. So I talked about it on the live stream last night, it's just such a much longer process than we kind of
Originally anticipated.
Yeah. And the documentary's done. We're done with the trailer. We're kind of shopping it around right now to various people to help with distribution. And we really just want to maximize the reach of this because it turned out way better than we had really even imagined.
It's really an epic piece, and Tim Cash from Far From Earth Films nailed it. Nailed it.
Absolutely nailed it. So that's where we're at. We're working on it. Hopefully the trailer will be released soon. You guys will all be knowing exactly what's going on. Everyone's and everyone else on here is just saying, welcome home, Skip. It's
Thank
good
you
to have
guys.
You back, man.
And also, I just want to reach out and say, everybody that donated, you guys mean the world to me. Thank you so much again. Couldn't have done it without you, so thank you.
Big up.
And so if anybody's interested in learning more about Iboga or booking a retreat, you can get a hold of me at ibogarebirth@gmail.com. It's ibogarebirth@gmail.com.
Boom.
Boom. It's good to be back, bro.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This is the Living Indubiously podcast, and this is Evan Skip, and we thank you guys. We love you guys for the support and for listening.
We love you.
Whatever you focus upon becomes your truth.